I'm speaking again with Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and I'm asking her very pointed questions, this time using my Whispers of the Unsolved deck. So I have some that have already come out, but I am going to continue pulling after I talk about that. So when she told me what it was like, in the duration of her relationship with David, she is saying that it was very emotional. It was very emotional. And that he gave her a sense of home safety that she had not felt previously before. Okay, so there was some kind of cushioning, some kind of something. But he also did pay her family in some way. It's coming up again that there was some kind of paying off, okay, so that their home and wherever they lived would be secure for the next coming months, like paying rent for them or mortgage payment, whatever it is. But the unspoken deal was that, you know, she's mine, you know, like I can have Celeste, like she's our connection together. And so it should be okay that we're hanging out and da 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 da, right? Now she is telling me that on a very fundamental, like on a deeper level, excuse me, both her family and I feel like what this is like there was this deep feeling of something isn't right, that it can get worse somehow, like I'm feeling that from her, like she kind of had this intuition, I think. Even though she was very young, she was actually very mature. There were going to be legal proceedings. There was something already in motion regarding the relationship. Okay? And what I just heard her say to me was that he was trying to like legally adopt her or something. Like he was trying to get her emancipated from her parents, get her on the payroll so that she can emancipate herself. And then therefore, you know, like there's some kind of like, they won't have a say in things. It's very convoluted. I don't understand exactly how that could work, because I've only heard just that little bit, and I don't really know about it on a conscious level, like emancipation and, you know, like adopting and what goes into that and the legal proceedings of that. But when I asked her what their relationship was about, she said justice and karma. I asked what he wanted with her, what he did with her. There was a lot of talk about partying and celebration, and that she's telling me straight up, that's when his ego would come out. Now, I don't know if this was like alter ego, but there were different sides of him, and multiple, not just two, that would come out when there would be like a party and a celebration. Okay. What he gave her was not only her final ending, which we know, allegedly, but he gave her affluent, wealthy, upper class, like experiences and that's what he gave to her. That's something that was a big part of the attraction that she had, because he made sure that it was part of the attraction. It was part of the attraction because he was grooming her. So whenever like he went off script and this other nasty side of him or sides to him came out, he would do things to make it better, and those things were buying her like material things, money, taking her to parties, showing her a good time in the ways that she liked to have a good time. Okay. Now, when I asked her how he treated her, literally the card with a person with a yellow, cleaning glove on, holding a black trash bag. Literally, that came out. And I was just like blown away. I asked her what happened when leading up to your death. She said she realized there are a lot of components that go into when somebody is about to die. And sometimes they can have premonitions. And what she's showing me is that she did. She had premonitions of her ancestors and angels, okay? And it scared her. But it was because it was drug induced. So I don't know what substance she was taking at the time. Nor do I know if this was hours leading up to her death or days, but we could find out because I'm still going to pull cards. But she was afraid. She was in a state of fear. And I want to say that there was some kind of medical emergency that occurred. So I don't know if she had a scare, like an overdose scare at some point where she got helped for that. Okay, help about that. But what I'm seeing is that he was the person that really that did what he did, allegedly, to Celeste in an anger and rage moment. Okay, anger and rage came out. Okay. And what we know, what she is telling me, is that he is going to confess in order to make a deal with the prosecution in this. He's going to confess and make a deal with the prosecution for some kind of lighter sentence. And I don't know exactly what they're charging him, what they will be charging him with. You can also find that out, but I want to know, Celeste, were you pregnant? Was there a pregnancy? Because a lot of people are speculating that could have been. Man, the fact that the trash card came out after I said, how did he treat you? Like trash. I also get the feeling that he wanted to go back for the body and put it underground, put her in literal like black trash bags and bury her or put her underground somehow. So I think that he thought that he had time and he left her there because he thought, I'll get back to it at some point. Yeah. Yep. So, She missed a period. I'm going to say that. I don't know if they're going to be able to necessarily know if she was with child at the time, but I do know that like there was talking between the two of them about her missing a period for like, I want to say like 8 weeks or so. She's young, and just, so everybody in the audience knows, when we're young, sometimes that happens when we first start menstruating, so it's not necessarily because they, because of pregnancy. It's sometimes just how our cycle begins, and it's also how our cycle ends eventually when we get older. Same way. So I will say that there were definitely talks about that, but I don't know if they knew for sure, nor do I know if they took a test. She's telling me he was a con man, that there were a lot of really dark things spoken about. There were a lot of cool things spoken about too, like he was a very like broad-minded person, but then there were so many things that were startling to her about him. So what else can you tell me, Celeste? What else do you want me to know about your relationship with David and your death? Sad, emotional celebrity. Something about his DNA as well. Linking his DNA somehow to her. Okay. He made her so sad. He made her so sad. But he was the only person that was allowed to be sad. Not her. She was supposed to support him. She's telling me that he also had a very overwhelming an overwhelming sadness, being that he cried a lot. And that's a good thing. Men are allowed to cry. Boys are allowed to cry. Like it's good. It's great, because oftentimes boys and men are taught that they can't cry because that's a female or feminine emotion. And they're not allowed to feel those emotions because they're men. And so what they do instead is they feel anger and rage, which is why 85% of men in this country commit violent and fatal crimes. So one of the components that leads to criminal behavior like that, we have to figure out why. And we have to do something about it. We have to start changing the way that we raise our sons in this country. So, she's talking to me about when they met. Okay, talk to me more about when you met. She was like, I was completely... She has a very mature energy, by the way. She doesn't sound like a young 13, 14-year-old girl. She sounds like she's lived a full life, kind of. She's seen things maybe that she shouldn't have seen. She had to grow up quickly, that kind of thing. She's, that our environments can cause us to do that sometimes. So what happened when you met? Tell me more about when you and David met. I'm sorry about the shuffling, by the way, but if I do this in the moment, you guys are going to hear it because I need to keep the voice recorder close to me, and I keep my cards in front of me. So you're going to have to hear that noise, and I apologize. Okay, let's answer pointed questions. What happened? What happened when you met? Perversion. Perversion happened when they met. Yeah. So, I mean, she's telling me that when they met in person. Okay. And she was groomed for it. Yeah. Drugs happened. Okay. So there was drug taking, drug use. Yep. There was a slew, an arsenal, okay, of weapons. Now, I don't know if police or whomever are discovering that or have discovered that. I don't know if he just had an arsenal when he was living in Houston. Maybe he didn't have that with him when he lived in LA. But there were weapons, there was cutting, there was a lot of like, sad boy, emo, sad girl, things going on, and how to release that emotion and liking to feel pain. There's a lot of that coming from him. Yeah. On his side, and him talking very openly and freely about it. One of the things that she thought that he was going to be because of his fame, she saw the picture of the guy on the outside, and she thought that he was going to be like really healthy, really high vibrational, like, you know, how she saw him, her perceptions of him. And then she met this really low vibrational person. So she saw the internal him, and he showed it to her almost immediately. But she was groomed, right? She was groomed enough and to the point where even though he showed that to her, he knew that he could and she wouldn't run away. Okay. All right. So Celeste, what else? How did you feel inside of your relationship with him? I got to fly places. I got to go places. She felt concealed. She felt concealed, like she was not somebody that he propped up on a platform and showed to the world. Maybe behind the scenes, she was with him, and there were times where he was very open about his love for her in public, but for the most part, she felt like she was like this hidden object. Yeah, like it was only digital. Like he was loving her the most verbally over, like digitally, text messages, Discord, private messages, all of that kind of stuff. That's where he was showing his love for her. There's a lot of evidence there. If they can find her phone or whatever she used, or get her, I don't know if she even had a phone. I don't know, but nobody's talked about that yet. But there's some kind of digital evidence that they're going to uncover. That's where he was showing her a lot of love, but in person it was different. In person, not only did he treat her differently, he was a different person. Yeah. and that she felt like he treated her more like his property than a person. Yeah. There was this fixation on and hyper masculinity to him. And I don't mean that to say that it was apparent on the surface, because it wasn't. He hid it. Okay? But there was something about him that wanted to take over, to dominate, to take control. Okay? And this was a hyper masculine, although dysfunctional, hyper masculine fixation on power and control. Okay? And when he asserted that, okay, he felt more in control, but he also can make up for those feelings that are in the category of feminine that he has inside of him. So now he feels justified. Now he feels some kind of odd dysfunctional balance within him. What else can you tell me, Celeste? Democrat card keeps coming up, and I don't know what that's all about. But conspiracy theories. Yeah, I'm getting a lot about that. Oh, an underground cult. All right. So she's talking about the ring. There was a picture, I think, of her wearing an engagement ring. He did propose to her. He was sealed on owning her and having her entirely. He was consumed. He wanted to consume her in every single way. It was to an extreme degree. I talked about that. Scorpio moon. It's extremes. Scorpio has a lot to do with death. So there would be a fixation. He had a fixation on death and all of that kind of stuff. So this is not uncommon. Yeah, there was something going on between his external and internal. This diametrically opposed set of people inside one being. She's telling me a lot about that. The truth that she didn't know what version was him or what was true. A lot about the digital. There's a witness to the digital stuff. There is a very, very strong, if not key witness that has information about the digital correspondences between David and Celeste. It's nearing its end. It's going to be solved soon, she's telling me. Okay, yeah, she's going back to, she keeps calling him a con man, by the way. Just throwing it out there, that's what she's saying. That there was a change of plans, that he really did, have an additional set of plans. Initially, he wanted to remove her body and then go to take it somewhere to bury it or do something like that. And oh God, this is so gross. But I'm getting that he wanted to keep her inside of his own car so that he could go back to her when he wanted to. This is disgusting. Oh my God, the possession over this person. This is really bad. It's so psychological. This is just really the things that I'm seeing. I'm shocked by. But he did want to eventually it's like he wanted to have her for as long as he could before it was beyond, what like he thought he could revisit her body and have time with it before burying her and saying goodbye. He wanted to be with her corpse. Oh my Lord, have mercy. I don't even know if I should post this. Oh my God, this is getting heavy for me, guys. I have to cleanse after this. What else, Celeste? Okay. She wants to tell her primary caregivers that she was under mind control. She was that's how she's putting it, right? We might call it being groomed. She's saying I was mind controlled. Everything was controlled. I mirrored him. Everything that I did, I had to mimic him. I was a reflection of him, but in a different form. Oh my Lord. Oh my God. Okay. I think in the last reading I spoke about how like they had split up at one point. But then he started to follow and stalk her. He did some really creepy things that she wondered about, but she didn't find out that he was doing that until she passed over and saw certain events, because she asked to see them. And turns out that he was like having her followed or following her, checking up on her at school, making sure that she wasn't talking to other boys at school. Like it went really deep. I don't know why she keeps talking about a fire. She just laughed and said to me, everybody out there is a rabbit hole, and you're all gonna have to go down it if you want to know the truth. This is a rabbit hole. There is a paper trail. There was significant mind control happening here. There is an accomplice. She's telling me it's his manager. His partner in business could be the manager, okay? But an accomplice. Law enforcement's gonna get him very soon. Holy shit. Okay. All right. Now we're getting into a little bit of that rabbit hole stuff. She's telling me that he is going to try to fake his own death so that he can start a new life. And I think this is where I need to end it, because I am just seeing this evil, demonic person thinking he can get away with this and fake his own. I can't believe where his mind is right now, because I thought, after my last reading, I really thought that maybe he was going to self-exit. But, and I felt that strongly. And now I know that that's actually correct, but he's not going to really do it. Wow. It's going to be all for show. Everything is all for show with this guy. Wow. Oh my God. He really was a person who tricked people into believing that he was somebody that he was not. Somebody that he like wanted to be, but he couldn't be. He didn't have the capacity to maintain that person that he showed to the public in interviews, on podcasts, what have you. He's a sick guy. And I'm going to tell you something right now. His mother his mother was not a very balanced person either. I'm seeing that he suffered abuse by her hands. Not that that is any excuse for his behavior, because when you become an adult, it is your responsibility to get help for the trauma that you endured. And he was an adult, albeit a stunted one, but he was an adult. And so, yeah, all of this behavior is not justified, in my opinion. But yeah, that relationship with his mother was volatile, and it was dangerous, and it was really intense and chaotic. And there's something going on there that's really dark. So I'd like to find out what that was like. I don't really know. I could probably feel it out if I see more of her and him together, but I don't know that that's even possible. But this is my second reading about Celeste, from Celeste to all of you, to the public. She wants this out. She asked me to speak to her again, and I asked her permission to record it, and she said yes. I asked permission of all the spirits that I interact with. And so I am sending you guys so much love. Stay safe, treat each other well, be kind, and I'll speak to you soon.